team, how we going? We're doing a bit of a countdown now. I'm letting Scotty Healey go and have a final shake. Just let us know how the volume's going here if you can, please, moderators. Great to see Keely Boyd. He's still here in the realms of YouTube after sending us for a fantastic but surprising stream by Lauren is shining. Lauren, can you please put your details up there so we can try and go for a mass subscription, if not cult following, for your channel, so people can help you out too. JJ, Submariner. Hey team, long time no see. Let us know how you're going, son. Ibrahim, here he is. Marky's Amp. Blakey's Vids. Madison. The road over Madison County. Kieran, g'day mate. Robbie Wool. Jesse, I wish I had your girl. Lauren and Jay for the west side. Jay, we're going to put that t-shirt on your back, my friend. Dave sent us a message today too that was pretty catastrophic actually. We've had a beautiful young lady lose her life after things didn't work out for her at Kapooka. Her name, give me 2 seconds, is Yindy Clark. What looked like a beautiful young lady. I'm sure she is missed by her family. Went through Kapooka, went on to School of Infantry, and then was injured. We know what I think about females going to the School of Infantry and their chances of injuries, etc. And a tragedy. This young lady has lost her life. So to her and her family, mate, I'm sorry that you didn't feel like you could get past this. It shows testament to how important it was to you. And it is very heartbreaking. I couldn't imagine what your family's going through. So lest we forget for you, mate. Cautionary tale, team. The School of Infantry is extremely hard. All of those who fail there have already passed Kapooka. Very, very sad indeed. Not a good way to start a stream as such. We've got 2.5 minutes to go. When Scotty comes in here, we're very lucky to have him. He's a funny bastard. He's a great guy. He's a fantastic servant of the nation and served in Armoured CORP. He was a notorious tank commander, and you'll hear about him as well. I'm going to give him a chance to speak to you first, actually, and it'll be great. As we watch the lady driver in the background and several other videos, we're also going to bisect, the different corps and how combined arms works in the modern warfare realm, battle space, because this, at the end of the day, is your new family, whether you like it or whether you don't. Don't think because you're going to Forward Observer's Artillery that you're necessarily going to a artillery base, forefield, etc. in Townsville. More than likely, you'll be going to the 2nd Battalion, operating there, embedded in infantry platoons inside a battle group, and then from there, you'll be at the standard of those that you travel with. Very interesting. Tonight we're going to be talking about Armoured Corps, Artillery, Infantry, Engineers, Intelligence, Signals, Special Forces, the contested battle space in the modern warfare realms, seniority and visible knowledge, and the definition of a veteran. Very interesting that we come up with. And all of that from the man who's not quite handsome enough to be on camera, and that is Scotty Healey. I better ring him right now, actually, as we get to switch over.
Hey Dean, how are you, mate?
Hey Scotty, we're live now, mate. So I'm just going to move over right now onto the main screen. There is no Aggies here. How are we going for the volume here, lads? Can we get some thumbs up for Miss Yindy Clark there? It's a devastating news to receive this. And people deal with back squad or with careers ending in various ways. And this is a catastrophic way for this young lady to end her journey that she only gets one of. Heartbreaking. There's people you can speak to, guys and gals. Make sure you do. Mate, welcome to tonight's stream. It's great to have you here. Another Arms Corps recipient, one of the only 2 corps that earns their hat badge. And when I say that, you have to complete your IETs before you actually get your hat badge, etc. How would you like to kick off the start of this tonight there, Scotty?
Any way that you like, mate. To be honest, it's your show, and I'm just here to give some heads up on my side of the story with Arms Corps, with Armoured.
Okay, let's start it off, mate. What's your thoughts on Aggies?
Yep, that's about as far as I'll go, mate. Or lack of thought. I don't think of them one bit. They don't even come on my radar.
Where would you gauge them between infantry and SASR? Or maybe they're even more qualified. Maybe they're almost Armoured Corps.
Yeah, the old Aggies, they like to tell you that they're special forces, but they probably didn't even make the scrapbook, bro. That's how I rate them.
Okay, mate. Well, let's move on. Okay, we've got a whole bunch of people here in chat. It doesn't look like many. It's saying there's 59 viewers at the moment, but if you put them in one room, that's significant. So thank you to everyone that's come tonight to share this space with us, and thank you goes out to Simon, okay, and Victoria, who I met yesterday, had a great yak to. Was probably thinking, who is this weirdo? If they're here to see us tonight, the context of what we yap about, you're very welcome. As well as all the new people here. Tonight is more of an information bombardment to you rather than a Q&A initially. So hold on. We'll talk about some subjects. We'll keep them moving. Try not to get bogged down. And we'll go from there. So what I'm going to do, Scotty, is I'm going to hand this over to you for a sec. And you can basically let us know why you joined the military, what you joined, and what you found from artillery. Okay, from Armoured Corps, the difference between cavalry and tanks, etc.
Yeah, well, I went to boarding school, so initially I was going to be joining the farm, and I was just doing business to keep the business going on the farm. But then you served with my older brother Wayne, and Wayne was there for only meant to be 4 years, and I just used to hear the stories of how awesome it was. And then out of the blue, I just thought, well, I'm in year 11, I'm going to drop out and join the army, and I did. So I signed up as a 17-year-old. I went through, and I was probably lucky that as a 17-year-old in Victoria, I was playing a lot of sports. I was playing rugby league, Aussie rules, so I was naturally fit. I wasn't I'd smash the BFA when I first joined, so I was always training, always doing everything, and anywhere I needed to go because of the farm, it was always walk. You have to walk 10 k's to the letterbox just to get to the school bus and bits and pieces, so I was naturally fit, mate. And then initially I thought I was going to join infantry because of the stories that I heard from Wayne and yourself, and I ended up getting there and thinking to myself, you know what, this armoured doesn't sound too bad. I obviously picked up the pamphlet, read all about it, and I think what made me think that I was going to be doing a fair bit of infantry stuff, I picked up the wrong PAM. I picked up the ASLAV cavalry PAM, and it said that you could be a veggie scout, which was like a glorified sort of under the infantry, but you can still do a lot of the infantry role, but as a veggie scout in the back of their sort of ASLAV. And then as soon as I finished Papuka and got to the School of Armour, they only had tank courses, so I did tank, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mate, and how old are you now, Scotty?
41.
I didn't realise you were that much younger than me. I turned 50 the other day. Hold the bat up.
That's good effort, yeah, because you and Wayne, my older brother, are very much the same age. You guys sort of went in through the same time, bits and pieces. I think you might have been a year or two before him. Not too sure.
But we're not the same weight.
No.
For those that don't know, I actually served with Scotty's brother, and let's just say there's no chicken left after he's happy from the bucket, mate. So, what's your concept of going to give a pitch now? If someone was watching this and they want to know, should I go to Armoured Corps or should I go to Infantry Corps? Why would they go to Armoured Corps or cavalry instead of, coming over to infantry? Let us know.
I think it just comes down to the individual. If they have a sort of mechanical, technical background and they're quick on their feet to fix solutions whenever anything goes wrong in the tank, then that's for you. I mean, geez, the vehicle itself has an amount of weapon systems on it that's, when you're firing them, it's enjoyable to be on there. So if you like that sort of thing where you get to shoot a big gun at about 4 k's away, hit the target, see the target through thermal day or night, and then you wanted to see infantry or other enemy infantry run away, knowing that your 50 cal machine gun or your 7.62, you can basically sight picture and shoot them and you can basically see everything, then that's why you'd want to join. I mean, it's just it's one of those things. It's like the infantry, you guys are on the ground and you have a lot of firepower, but if you didn't want to do that and you wanted to go through and shoot other vehicles and bits and pieces, it's like both roles are enjoyable. Because I remember doing a lot of IMTs when I was in 1st Armoured, and then obviously being on the tank as well, and I found both roles awesome. Amazed when I'm dismounted from the tank, I'm doing more infantry-based stuff, because we always used to dismount and do that when we had out bush. We would go out bush, park up the tanks, we'd have the pickets on the tanks, and then we would go for a 15k pack march or 15k scan of the area and stuff, and come back. And it was always enjoyable. So really, it's down to the individual. If you like that, if you like the technical aspect of tanks and ASLABs, then that's for you. If you like getting close with the enemy and actually sticking them with your bayonets or choking them and feeling the blood going all over yourselves, then obviously infantry would be the way to go.
Well, that's the same as if you work at an abattoir. Mate, so what tonight is basically about is so people understand that there is an inoperability between all corps. Picture them as pieces of a puzzle, that make and they add capabilities that when you bring the synergy of those together, the paper, scissors, rock, they create a solution to almost any problem when matched with intelligence, with planning, and with leadership, and with training, cutting edge, and volunteers. You're almost unstoppable. So that's why you won't be able to really find, except in the conventional days where it's conventional military doing patrol clashes against each other on Western fronts, Gallipoli, etc., that you'll actually see defeats, for Australia. We go in there to win. Now, the first ever combined arms that we used to see was on the ancient battlefields. And one of the first to use it was Indians, and I mean like Indians, when they used elephants, and they each had a detachment of infantry and also archers. So picture archers are your artillery, indirect fires. Then you've got your infantry, which are infantry, and your cavalry used to be on horsepower, 1 horsepower. And they went from there. So the evolution of the battlefield has continued from ancient days to now, and then looks something like, which we'll go into a moment, is the lady driver, so to speak. Now, here we go, 343. We're seeing a little bit of a Joe Bellinger. Hey, Cas, Scotty, I've assessment day on Saturday. Make sure you watch the video again and have your necessary questions ready for me, mate, and I'll be able to talk to you before then, especially Friday, as we dish up another stream for you. Thanks for your 343. Mucho accepto. And I'm going to buy a piece of half-cooked Kentucky for that and hope that Scotty's brother doesn't hear about it. Thank you very much.
Yeah, dirty bird, don't tell Wayne, huh?
I'm just going to turn the volume down for this Roman battle that's playing out in the background. Where are we?
Some staunch people. There we are.
Where are we? Yeah. So, guys and gals, when you think there's a competition between the corps, there's not really. And if we were to say this, there's a lot of animosity when you talk to people about what is a combat corps and what is a support corps. Now, everything to do with infantry is seeking out and close your enemy, kill or catch him, seize and hold ground, repel attack by day or night, regardless of season, weather or terrain. That's not the same for any other corps other than Armoured Corps. Now, Armoured Corps, what's your role? What's the role of Armoured Corps and tanks?
Yeah, same as yours, to seek out and capture and destroy targets by day or night, basically.
Yours sounds gay compared to ours, mate.
Yeah.
Yep. I love ours. Yep. And you know what? The Armoured Corps' worst nightmare is to be found dislocated from infantry, and found by infantry. Infantry's worst nightmare is pretty much to be located by aviation assets and or armoured assets while we're dislocated from armour or armour defeating weapon systems through our direct fire support weapons platoons. All we need to do is let them know we're there, and that can be enough to stall armour. Same deal. When we hear track squeal, if we don't have armour defeating weapon systems, all we know how to do is dig quicker and hope we don't hear left stick, right stick, and the track squeal as we as we disappear into the sandcastle.
Yeah, it was a big game changer for you guys, I think, for us in 2006 when we got the Abrams, because prior to that, I don't know if you remember, Dean, but the Leopard basically had IR night sight, was glorified Ninox, so we couldn't really see any of you guys at night time. You'd just spring up and then we'd see maybe 50 metres out from our tanks, but then when we got the Abrams with the thermal sight, we were seeing you guys for Ks and Ks, so nobody could sneak up on us after we got the Abrams.
We know the best bit of knowledge, mate, is we didn't even know that. Okay?
Yeah, no, it was, because we knew that you guys were scared of us, but we're like, shit, we can't even see them.
Well, and let's talk about, before we go back and talk about your history in cavalry and then tanks, where you did the main the changeover to the Abrams, etc., from the Leopard to Abram. Let's have a look at artillery for a second. Now, artillery is an unusual corps because there's so many different components. You've got the forward observers that travel with Armoured Corps or travel with infantry, those call signs that are most likely to need that, which means you're at the front. But in saying that, they don't necessarily get along with those that are gun bunnies, and we're going to do a video on with this now, so people get a little bit of a clarification on this. But artillery, it's weird. They can fire from 40 kilometres away, so they're the first from the front line you can get. Engineers are way in front of them, so a lot of truck drivers. But they still retain the right to be considered an arms corps. Let's have a look at one of their latest videos, and we'll have a look in a gander at that.
1-0, this is 1-1, a fire mission over. The grid, the Delta uniform 1963676A. Enemy platoon in open, a 50 by 50. MRSI, at my command, a 3 rounds fly for effective, over.
When you look at the artillery piece,
is out conducting exercise shower fire. Specifically today, our 106 battery is rehearsing and conducting multiple round simultaneous impact mission, and this means that all the rounds impact the target at the same time, which increases the rate of fire, the lethality of the mission, so it makes one gun look like 3 guns on the ground.
no, it doesn't.
It's a really challenging.
I'll explain
mission,
that in a moment.
particularly for the detachment bombarders, because it tests their ability to multitask and
Hey,
command
Madison.
the detachments in a very, very tight time frame. So it's very challenging, and it was a really good exercise, and we got to do stuff that you don't normally get to do, and everyone, particularly the bombarders, did an excellent job.
No, just kidding.
So if that landed dead smack on, okay, a platoon, yeah, you would be in a lot of trouble. But we'll have another look at that in a couple of seconds. Oops.
1-0, this is 1-1, a fire mission over. The grid, the Delta uniform 1963676A.
What are we doing?
Enemy platoon in open, a 50 by...
Get off this bloody screen pad.
1-0, this is 1-1.
Wait a second.
Fire mission over. The grid, the Delta uniform 1963676A.
Wait a second. I'm just trying to shut this down for a second, mate.
A 50 by 50. MRSI, at my...
Okay. So basically, I'll just quickly answer this one first from Madison. Hey, Cas, just at the gym. She's got Pezza coming up soon. Where do you think AVOs sit on the combat role? I don't really see aviation as a combat role. I don't. When there's contested battle space, yeah, but you don't normally fly into harm's way, even for an AME, okay, until we can get you to a position where it is considered feasible okay, for you to be able to land your craft. We can't afford to actually end up losing a $10 million plus craft, okay, to enemy fire. You know, our job, whether it be special forces or whether it be infantry, is to actually get our patient back out of the fight where you can land safely. You know, there's no ego involved in it. It's you've got your attack craft as well. Yep. Okay, but there's no real jurisdiction. No one lives better in the Australian Army, Air Force and Navy than aviation. You know, I think they like the title of Arms Corps, but I've never seen them as Arms Corps. What do you reckon, Scotty?
Yeah, I never really see them because of the amount of firepower that we have, and because we've got the big nature of firepower, we can't afford for any things to hit a hard target, ricochet, and take out a helicopter. And to be honest, what do they provide sort of as ammunition or weapons that infantry and armour combined don't have?
They can also get in the way of us using indirect fires or fast attack craft because they're at a lower altitude within that battle space.
We always use fast air all the time, never attack helicopters because they're useless. Yeah. It's not me having a dig at them, they just don't provide anything in our battle space.
Yeah. Here's one from Diesel Duck. Cas, leaving in 2 days. Funny story, I told my girlfriend that I was leaving for Kapuka and an hour later she broke up with me. This was yesterday. Mate, my phone number, Diesel Duck, is... No, I'm joking. You know, I don't want a quick pass. There you go, mate. Better you found out now. You know what? And later on, she's going to be looking like a Dumas or whatever video where she's going to be hearing that now you're flying, you're laughing, you know, look at your job, you're rolling forward, you're happy as hell, your arms are bigger, you're surrounded by cool people, you're travelling, you've got stories, and she might be with some deadhead. And for the rest of her life going, I could have been part of that journey without ever having to go to Tully myself.
Yeah, she's just a handbrake slowing your career down at the moment, bro. There's plenty more in the sea.
Can we get some thumbs up? We've just got 2 fantastic new employees, as you would say, the financial arm of the channel, with Reese Shaw. Welcome to the Bearer of Coffee. I will have a coffee, but not decaf. I'll have that tomorrow, thank you, mate. And we've got Dan, the man, the great unwashed, the filthy pirate of the comment section. Okay, nutsu cow to you both. And in a month, you're going to see yourself with your stripe added. And then a month after that, session commander. A month after that, sergeant. You know, and then 6 months later, you go up from there. Well done. Great to have you on board. Can we get some thumbs up to the cool dudes here? Thanks, no good, Diesel Duck. Mate, if anything, Diesel Duck, you've been saved by unnecessary stresses. You know, this has been a blessing and it's going to hurt at the moment. And you know what? At least she had the courage to say, this is not what I wanted in my life. That is a lot better than you being thinking, oh, okay, this is going to be sweet. And then only finding out in your most vulnerable time of training, okay, that this was not the real thing. It was a fugazi relationship, the fake diamond, that has just put extra pressure on you when that's the least thing you can afford. And Scotty and I can talk about military partnerships and what we've seen from our soldiers until the cows come out. I'm going to put on some of the... What do you call it? I'm going to put on some of the... where are we?
I just remember Dean having a good troops hub when I first joined the army, saying that to party hard, learn your craft, and then settle down in your sort of mid-20s, and it'll put you in good stead. And I pretty much lived that to the T, and I enjoyed, I think, the first part of my army career, and I didn't have that drawback of somebody telling me I couldn't go bush, I couldn't go overseas. I didn't have that worry one bit, and I enjoyed it, to be honest. It's not for everybody. I embraced and I think it worked for me.
Yeah, and it can be terrible. You know, it can be terrible when you go overseas, and you're always worrying about someone else while also worrying about what your job is on the ground. And it can be extra hard when you're actually talking about family involved in that as well. It can make it very difficult because, you know, hearing children's voices is... You know, one of those things you yearn for more than anything. It can really take your mind off the job, and people can fold pretty badly. We've got Dan throwing an extra $5 out there. you don't have to throw any more on there, Dan. We're just great to have you here, mate. Thank you very much. Not too cow. So it doesn't matter how good we are with our drills in infantry. It doesn't matter how good we are in artillery or how good we are in armoured corps, intelligence corps, signals, you know, or RAMI engineers that share the line with us at times, clearing routes, booby traps, mines, etc., if our leadership lets us down. Now, what we've got to be very careful of is that our leadership, in love with politics at the moment, doesn't get to a position through their ambition to be something after military, don't water down, okay, our ability to make hard decisions with limited time, okay, without all the information required to use decisive capabilities for a favourable outcome, despite the fact that that may also include, you know, collateral damage and casualties of Australia's best. So, guys and gals, we really need, okay, leadership to be brutal in its delivery of wisdom, but also be honest. The difference between a manager, okay, and a leader, because a leader, when you hear about people asking, especially in civilian sector, what are the qualities that you need for a leader, and they're going compassion, all that, you go, what about leadership? Leadership. If Scotty Healey comes out and there's 30 guys there and they're going to go and do an activity and they're all exactly the same rank, look at who they pick. That is going to be a leader. The person that steps up, the person that says, yep, okay, I'll have a crack, and then the people willingly follow them, okay, onto the field, whatever the metaphor for that field is, but they do it voluntarily, and they do it out of trust and confidence in the staunchness of the person that gives direct instruction to people with limited assets to make those decisions. That's a leader. You know, going to university doesn't make you a leader. You know, Dan's trying to pay off my car here. It's already paid off. Thank you very much. Thank you very much there, Dan. Not too cow. I hope you like Coke over Pepsi, and guess what? Tubes are coming back out. If you get a chance, team, you need to get on board. Have a look at my video on tubes. It's got the least amount of views, but it's the best news I've ever actually brought out. We've got Aussie Player, the paramedic. You know, throwing the Euros there, wrecked. He's wrecked. Let us know in comments. How many people's lives have you saved in the last month, please, Aussie Player? Can you please let us know? Not too cow. Angel on the streets. You know, you might actually enjoy the second last video we did on the lovely Tristan Bailey, God bless her soul. We've also got Wakervids here. $3 tonight. Love the streams, mate. That's 3,000 viewers worth of shekels there, mate. That's nothing to be worried about. Thank you very much, mate. It all goes to a great cause. My sex change in 2099. Okay, I'm going to get a sex change to a male, and we should all be happy. And mate, right, Intelligence Corps. Intelligence Corps, you know, we're hearing more and more people about red-pilled. I don't respect you extra because you're in a combat corps team. There's just expectations. There you are coming on the screen now there, Scotty. Yeah. You're about to blast some of my brethren, I'd say. No, you just copped one.
No, my driver just turned the wrong way and jumped something.
Female drivers. Okay,
in the dice the other week on a parade, yeah, that was hilarious.
I think you cop it up here. What was I going to say? In intelligence, you know, being red-pilled, being able to have conversations, meet people halfway in communications without the emotional side of it, and being able to discuss points, leadership, the world as it is, solutions, etc., without it just being a whinge. Intelligence Corps' job is to do that. If you're a little bit older, you know, and you find yourself as analytical, I couldn't imagine a better job than coming to work in Intelligence Corps now that we're not cutting up maps and doing all that sort of stupid shit. You know, the cutting edge technology, learning different languages, you just got wiped out too, buddy. Happening. I think Intelligence Corps would be right up on my pick. Aussie Player is letting us know that he's done 4 call outs and saved 4 lives. He's from Germany. Amazing.
going back to Intelligence Corps, Dan. Okay, the only time I really worked with them heavily was when I was on any of the operations with SOTG. Prior to that, arms, or whenever I worked with the infantry or the engineers, we never really ever, when we were back on barracks or doing big exercises, did we ever hear from the Intelligence Corps? Never.
But
It wasn't until I worked with the SOTG in 12 that I worked with them. And any other deployment like Timor, Iraq, I never worked with them until I went to SOTG.
But they're feeding all the information that comes down to you. We used to get some really dog shit information.
We used to hear the in stuff, but I mean, heavily directly working with it. So like, well, we used to get the recon to search or reports from you guys.
Liam?
Users team, from the ground.
But that's where intelligence don't always realise that's where they actually get their information from cavalry, from aviation, from engineers, from infantry. Their patrol reports that go out and say what is the sympathies of the civilians and the non-combatants in the areas. If it's bad, we need to change that. We need to win friends and influence people to give ourselves the best chance of having them in our back pocket when the shit starts to hit the fan. Liam Coffey, there you go. Boom, 99, Agent 99. I used to think she was hot. The black bob cut should come back for young ladies. A little bit Russian spy. Can we get some thumbs up for everyone that's a fan of the black or any colour bob cut? Ladies, don't be afraid to get one. They look amazing. You'll stand out in the crowd. And standing out, being different is better than better sometimes. Dan, again, I think that he's fallen asleep on his credit card, and he keeps swiping it. Thank you very much, mate. Thank you very much indeed. Officer salute right there. Stickman. Now, Ryan James, welcome to the Great Unwashed. Ryan James. It's always hard when someone has two first names, because it's always name James. No, what's your last name? Oh, James. What's your first one? Ryan. Okay, got it. Okay, unless that's hyphenated and two dads.
Yeah, two dads. I was going to say that with the hyphenated. I don't know how many of them we had in the army. Heaps.
Three choices. What three choices, if you were going to join the army today, would you be given, Scotty?
Would I want?
Would you want to do right now?
Yeah, I will armoured with number 1, infantry number 2, and really hard to go for a third one. But knowing what I know now, it would be good to do a trade base, maybe Ramey or something like that. But I couldn't see myself, to be honest, doing anything else but armoured or infantry, to be honest.
Okay, well, we got some good news tonight. Dan, stop it, or we'll send some pizzas to your house. Thank you, mate. Aviation, we were talking before with Madison. Aviation's got a whole lot of jobs there, because never complain about fairness in the military, because I'm telling you, when you see the way aviation get looked after compared to everyone else, they would never dare whinge about anything, because I'm telling you something. They live high on the hog. They can be deployed, but also they can be posted to Army, Air Force or Navy bases. They have to have, because of industrial deafness, etc. Funny enough, artillery don't get this, double glazed windows. I believe that they get the same, what do you call it, special forces get their supplements to meals, get the chocolate milks and all that sort of weird shit brought to them, while the people that are working the long hours in the mud don't get any of that. And they also have to be guaranteed to have 8 hours sleep as well.
Yeah, they basically get looked after some fierce team. I was talking to a friend that's Avo's today, actually, just after I talked to you, and he was telling me how they, even when they're not flying but they're posted in, as long as they got their wings, get flying allowance without flying. And I'm just thinking to myself, geez, look at everything.
But you know what, mate? Good luck to them. The reason why I say that, young Madison County, is because they chose that. I chose infantry. You chose Armoured Corps. We chose it. There's different prizes for what you get. Some roles aren't a corps that are a combat corps, but what their reward is, they never get dirty. They might never go bush.
Yeah, they can get away with where it's only taking one pair of cans out bush.
I respect everyone that wears a uniform if you finish the job that you're there to do. It's simple as that. Let's have a look at something you're going to have to do if you go to aviation, or something you have to do if you definitely go to either Townsville or go to 3 Brigade. Let's have a look at that. Nope. No. Here we go. And this is Hewitt. If you were scared of water, okay, this is a team event. It's not an individual event.
Not good for tankies.
You know, if you panic, everyone in this pool has to retest what's going on. You're not allowed to try and get out before it starts rolling over. Ditch, ditch, ditch. Okay, you're in that helo. It spins upside down, and then they give you the okay. You can try to escape now. It feels like forever. I grew up in the beach. You know, I love surfing, scuba diving, everything. But it freaks you out, especially when you've got a bloody nose like mine. You know, the fin of a surfboard, you know, so to speak. 343 Dino, mad respect for all the 343 boys. Same deal, mate. Duty first, my man. Seek out and close the enemy, kill or catch him, season hold, ground repel attack by day and night, regards season weather terrain. And while we've got you here, Scotty, and we're watching the people suffering here, because you'll do Hewitt at night time too.
I'm having flashbacks, man.
Did it scare you too?
Not really. When it did scare me was when you knew you had that nervous guy and he had the window and he had to open the exit and he would be tapping straight out, tapping to get out, and you're like, man, I'm waiting for you to open the window and you've tapped to get out. And now I have to try to open the window at night.
And this should be a cautionary tale to everyone that wants to join the army. If you go to 3 Brigade or you go to Darwin, you have to do this. It doesn't matter what corps you're doing.
100%.
And if you're not a confident swimmer and you pass the bare minimum of the army swim test, which is about 30 metres, then this is going to scare the living shit out of you.
Here we go, night time. Enjoy.
Do you know what just happened in California?
Nah, what?
In California, I'll leave that up there for a little while because I like the atmospherics of it too. In California, they just had, I believe it was an Amtrak. It just got flooded and sunk and killed everyone on board. That's 11 people, I believe, were on that at the time. Tragic, guys. I've been on those. It is a scary situation when you hit the water in an Amtrak because you'll actually hear the sound of it as it goes down the shore, scraping as it goes down and then hits the water. And the SOP, there's only one area to get out, that's the hatch, because they have to be closed down when they're on the ocean. It's pretty scary shit. And they sink at about a rate of, I think it was 10 metres a second. You know, Dan, upgraded membership to the Bearer of Coffee. Thank you very much. If we can get this to 110 concurrent viewers, we're on 97 at the moment. I'm going to drink this can of filth. You know, which is also called. Yep. If I see.
Coke, bro? I thought you were a Coke man.
I am a Coke man, but I keep this here just in case. Okay, well, so what else we got? We got signals. C3 is command, control, and communications. The quickest way to down either infantry, armoured corps, etc., would be something that cuts off our communications. It's not because we want to call home, ET style. It's because we have to know where the elements are in front of us, other friendly locations, you know, so we know that we've had a uncontested battle space and we are free to shoot because everyone sort of looks the same. It's not like Battlefield 2042, which is about to launch in October. Yeah, let's have a look at that one again. We just saw, I think, something from Aussie again. Where is he? Diesel Duck Cas. Should hairstands be changed in the military? Why should the guys have to get an ugly to Kapuka but gals leave their hair? Look, I agree. I believe that women in the military should have to get exactly the same haircut as men. I do believe that.
Yeah, Jane.
You know, you're not supposed to be wanting to sleep with them. You know, so it can't hurt. You know, and it's not because it's fair. It's because we get a haircut for a reason. It's so that we all blend in with each other. You know, and you become a number. And the baptism by fire, the inoculation by being a soldier, oh, look at these cheating buggers. Do you know what they're doing? I reckon there's people that are getting onto their second device to try and make me drink a Pepsi.
Here's a bit of controversy for you, Dean.
Be careful what you say. Don't get us kicked off. Okay.
No, it's legit. Speaking to one of my good officer friends, it's actually a female.
Yep.
We were talking about how, I think you were talking about how some, and I'm not against females in the army or anything like that, but as the current climate of China, I'm hearing from her that
we call that
changing enlistment, that they're going back to.
We call that the red. We call that the red corn chip, mate. If you use that word, we get cut down.
Oh yeah. So the enlistment cycle's changing now with recruiters, that they have to go off the box score now, and the best box score gets into the army, because they really need capability for in case we're going to go to war with China. So that's actually
stop those words, bro. Don't say that shit.
Yeah.
Okay, look, I don't believe we're going to lock horns with the red corn chip on the ground anywhere. And if they did, if we did, it would be in Australia, not over there. Everything. Put a thumbs up in chat if you've noticed that the military is suddenly starting to ratchet up their seriousness about what's happening on our global front.
Well, that's from a high-ranking officer, female, that was thought I was a smooth operator back in the day with Arms Corps, and just said that they're actually taking it serious now, because they believe the last 3 or 4 years has just been about the climate change, if you know what I mean, in the military. And now they really need capability back.
Leave me 2 seconds. I'm in trouble here, mate. Dan, is thrown out a menstrual cow at me, and I can't say no to this. I don't dance, for donations, but it's fair enough, mate, that, Dan, this one's for you, and I can't stand Pepsi. Bloody KFC. It's like the Colonel forces me to drink something I don't want every time I get a zinger. And I'm not talking about a key of the car. This one's for you, Dan. Pepsi. I'll do this actually for the for Kardashians. Quite like the sisters. They're pretty good on the eye.
Pepsi's the only drink you can get at KFC. That sounds rough going down.
Back blast. How did this ever become worldwide?
America?
It's disgusting.
Their food is weird.
Filth. Guys and gals, make sure you get yourself some Apple iBuds. The Pros. Fantastic, change your life. Dan, you never need to make a donation again. Thank you for being here, mate. You've seen me drink the can of filth. We're supposed to have Tassie on here too. I've just been reunited with one of my New Zealand brothers. Who's lives in Australia now, got a great family, fantastic. He's infantry as well. So if we've got anyone here from the 2nd 1st Battalion, there's a salute for you for the baggies there, by the baggy bar. They're solid. 2nd 1st Battalion, never worked with the 1st Battalion, but 2nd 1st, great to have you there. Duty first. Kura taki hipuni, which means we are ready. So intelligence. If you go to intelligence, it's like you're going to need to learn another language. There is also a fantastic team they've got there, which is HUMINT, which means human intelligence, where there is an area where they can be embedded with call signs, or when there is it's a little bit safer, can be put down in villages and be go out and win hearts and minds, or listen as linguists, etc., and see what the climate is on the ground, where Australian forces are held in either high or low esteem. They've got a lot of jobs to do there. Engineers, fantastic. You're going to go to engineers. Don't think by saying, hey, I want to go and work with the dogs, you're going to get a job working with the dogs, because everyone would like to do that. But there's also their roles is to do route denial by using tactical obstacles. They've never come and dug my pit for me. They'll do forward operating base construction. They'll do field construction. They can do clearances of routes, which is why sometimes you'll see in engineers attached to infantry or armoured call signs moving through choke points that allow us to get a clean route through a location while infantry, etc., do a defile drill and cut through there if the engineers aren't in fact actually doing that. We also have a version of our own engineers called assault pioneers within the infantry battalions. Now, not all battalions actually have maintained that. You know, it used to be a very hard role. But the engineers is a fantastic role. They actually work at they actually do their IETs out of steel barracks at Holsworthy in Sydney. Aviation, where do they do theirs? In Amberley. Signals, Watsonia, okay, in Melbourne, in the heart of Melbourne. Artillery in Puckapunyal, okay, down south. We've got armour, again, out of Pucka. We've got infantry that work out of the School of Infantry, Singleton. What else we got? Anyway.
Is this just any other corps? Like,
yeah.
Yeah, Chucky's working out of Bandiana, Ramey, Bandiana, all those type of guys. Catering, I think, corps, they worked at Bandiana for their IATs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where is Bandiana?
So it's sort of, it's east of Albury Wodonga, so it's basically not far. It's probably about 15 minutes from Albury.
Albury's a beautiful place if you're not there in a military context. Beautiful.
Yeah, that's right.
Thomas Riddle, what a name. Kaz, you got any advice for joining aviation through Duntroon? No, mate, look, this is the deal. When you go to aviation, when you go to Duntroon, you don't get to choose your corps, mate. When you go to RMC Duntroon, we're talking about being an officer here, team. Basically, you go in there and they will decide what positions need to be filled, Army's needs, and then from there they'll look at the pecking order, the performance order, okay, your leadership, okay, and your problem-solving capability, and say this guy is decisive, this guy is not. Okay, one goes that way, one goes that way, one gets his choice, one may not. You know? But you lose your corps anyway after Colonel when you become basically a politician, a red tabber. Don't you?
That's right, officers, yeah.
Ordnance Corps for Nicole King. Okay. One of the hard things that used to happen there, Nicole, I don't know what it was like in Armoured Corps, but they need to do this again in infantry, is get rid of the paperwork. Pardon the language, get rid of the fucking paperwork. Because we're in there to make our arms bigger, to learn weapon systems, and not be held down by paperwork. So the best way to do that is what they used to do, and that was allow for for Ordnance Corps, where every single rifle company should have between 2 and 5 people from Ordnance, you know, working in those units, like Ordnance Platoon. We do have admin company. So basically, while we're outfield, you know, paperwork can be getting done where these guys stay back and do that so we can go and do our job. It's the reason why you don't see as many police on the streets, because they're doing their paperwork, which was meant to be alleviated by having computers, which it didn't do. Nicole's office here. Good night, Nicole. Nicole King.
Good night, Nicole.
Neville Bloody Bardos, no cash here. Everyone just do yourself a favour and join the RAF. Come on. Why do you want to work for Jetstar? If you're not going to be a pilot, Ryan Ward, which corps do poor performing officer cadets go? That's a tough one.
Transport? No, transport.
Well, you never see an officer in transport, do you?
Yeah, you do. We had an officer that got sacked, and his priority was he only got 2, which was ordnance or transport.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. And we would sack a lot of officers in armoured because we just didn't have the ability for them. If they were going to not pass or be a good troop leader, they were definitely not going to make it as a captain or an OC as a major.
Yeah, and let's explain something really quickly here too. It's not your own fault. You know, when the Army puts out their... and while we're doing this, can we get some thumbs up, please, for Dan for throwing the menstrual cowl out? It was more than you ever need to give to a channel, honestly, team. You know, we enjoy doing what we do, bringing you the information. Matty, how you going, mate? Evening, gents. Thank you very much, mate. That's almost a haircut right there. Well done. I'll look like Ellen DeGeneres again before I know it. And we saw Dylan Kidman here too, related to the Nicole, who was one of the nicest young men I've ever met. Gave me a banjo, you know, after he wanted to learn it, Scotty. I think he put 3 days into it and then realised I'm never going to cut it in Byron Bay. So he wrote all over it and gave it to me before he left to be a scuba diver, and then threw that in because the right lady put the tail fins out. He followed after her, and now I don't actually know what he does.
Oh, so you actually got the instrument banjo, not the Army terminology banjo, so it just gave you bacon and egg roll.
No. There's that. Cas, chance of meeting a World War II veteran nowadays, it's low. The Queen, God bless her soul.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
You know, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Although it's not your actual birthday, happy birthday to you. No matter what anyone says about the Queen, and apparently it came out today in Britain, you know, naturally by those of the equivalent to BLM, reckon she is the very figurehead of white supremacy. You're going, what a joke. This is a woman who has served her nation since World War II. And is still working now. You know, no one has got a right to say anything bad about her, especially Prince Harry too.
Yeah. No, well, only people will know if they've got hidden agendas, and that's the person. Not everybody's like that.
Yep, that's right. You know, they always say, you know, you show me someone's friends, and I'll show you your future. You know, I think that's a really, really good line. And that's very important when you're thinking, what corps do I go to? Do I become an officer? Do I become a soldier? You know, because you're going to live in a completely different world. And you're going to have expectations. There she goes, driving past. You're going to have a lot of expectations that of what you do when no one's watching.
Well, the other good thing then is for the people that actually do have a higher education is there's no problem with joining the Army as an OR for a couple of years, learning your craft and your trade, and then deciding to, you know, go through as a corporal or whatever and do officer training.
Yeah.
Best of both worlds. I had a lot of friends do that, and they ended up becoming the best officers.
And that's what I was trying to say before. I don't hold it against anyone if when they go for their officers and they go for RMC, done troon. You know, I don't believe in going there and getting a university degree. Okay,
Yeah,
unless it's related to their military career. And I was talking to Anthony before about that. But basically, you know, how are you supposed to know how hard it is? And I'll tell you now, although the standards have dropped significantly, in RMC as well, you know, if there's not a failure rate, then the training's not hard enough. I'm telling you now, and that's a really good saying I got from a colonel that was over at the School of Infantry. But you don't know whether you're going to be good at officers, and they work goddamn hard at the School of Infantry. Holy shit, they work hard, and they're like 21 years old, some of these officers, and some of the pressure that is put onto them is not just so much when they're in the command position there, Scotty. It's when you're playing the part of the soldier, you know, facilitating someone else's plan, and now you have no responsibility other than to stay awake. And you see these guys with all of their pains and all of their things that they're trying to hide from the commanders and the DS, that are injuries that they're carrying to make sure that they graduate. They work really, really hard, and I do take my hat off to them. And if you make an enemy of officers, guess who is going to have the worst time? It's going to be you under their command.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean mooch to them, you know, but you can have conversations and you can be quite honest with them, you know, as long as you pick your space and it's not in front of other people that force them to put you in a position. Hey, Nathan Island, there you go, mate. Everything's good, man. We've got Scotty on here, Tanky. You know, tell me about the Abram. What is it like? thumbs up in chat if you want to hear about being an Abram tank commander.
Yeah, it's amazing, mate. I love it. I think it was night and day from changing from Leopard to the Abrams. Like, all of a sudden you had a weapon system that could reach accurately and destroy targets at 4,000 metres, when the Leopard, you would 50-50 maybe hit something at 3,000 metres, but Abram, every time by day and night or on the move, would be hitting targets. It was like upgrading from a crappy Falcon to the latest FPV. It was amazing. And I know a lot of people used to say, second-hand tanks and stuff, but what they didn't realise was the tanks were actually completely stripped, heat-traded, brand new components inside. So we had the latest generation component of, say when we got the tanks in 2006, we got the basically 2005 latest Abrams technology put into the tank, brand new boxes. So they weren't second hand, they were brand new. Everything was refurbed, so that was amazing when we received our first tanks, mate. It was.
Are they air conditioned?
No, but it has a system there that's close to air conditioning that, you put a vest on and it blows MBC air. Now that air is colder than a normal fan, but not like an air conditioning. And when you're up in Darwin and it's hot as, it was enough to keep the air circulating on your body. That was about it.
Okay, how many people are inside a tank, and can you explain their positions?
Yeah, mate, there's 4 people inside the tank. When you first the tank, your first position starts as the driver, so you drive the tank by taking commands from the commander. There's the loader, who chooses the ammunition and places the ammunition into the big gun and makes sure all the machine guns works. Then there's the gunner. The gunner basically looks after the main gun and all the sighting systems, and he basically takes orders from the commander to shoot targets, and then he'll also give targets to the commander as well, and the commander will confirm the target, and the gunner will execute and destroy that target. And then the commander, he's in charge of everything. He's in charge of the maintenance of the vehicle, make sure the correct ammunition's selected. He's looking after the driver where he's going, and he's telling the gunner where to shoot. And then once they've done all that and destroyed targets, he's reporting information to the boss, and then it can be sent up the chain of command.
2 seconds. Lewis, all the best, mate. Let us know how it goes.
Yeah,
okay,
so that's basically the positions.
Can we get some thumbs up for Quantum Hawk there, who's just made his sergeant stripes? Well done, sir. Well done. Oh, Sarge. Okay, next question. Tell us about the training. How long is the training to become a tank commander? As a matter of fact, explain to me IETs, initial employment training, when you get your hat badge, and how do you end up going to CAV or go to tanks, and how long is that training, etc.? And do you work with the Americans?
Yeah, so
Liam?
IETs is a funny one. So initially, when I went through, it didn't take long. I'll probably have to get back to you, Dean, because my little one's up, mate.
Okay, mate.
So I'll have to look after this.
Okay, you go and do that, mate.
Okay, thanks, mate.
Everyone, thumbs up for Scott. He's got to get out of here. Okay, his loader has just unloaded. Guys and gals, it's always great to have Scotty on. When we first met each other, we got on really well because we're both very, very laid-back dudes. We both like to be the life of the party, so to speak. We both have very thick skin, but we're also antagonists and take the piss out of each other. We nearly came to blows a few times in regards to who's better, infantry or cavalry, armoured corps, etc. But a lot of that was out of pride for our own corps. The other bit was also because of ignorance of each other's corps. And you've got to remember, when you are in the fast lane, when you were doing one of these career choices, honestly, you're almost blinded to this as the only job. And I want everyone to think that way about their corps. But normally the closest you are to the spear point is the more you think that way. The more logistically something is, although it's extremely important to have the logistics down pat. Okay, there's just something sexy about being in the spear point. The spear point is not special forces team. They are there to assist us, okay, with known information, and the latest desert campaigns have been very special forces centric, okay, but that's not typical. We've got Lewis here. Welcome to the Great Unwashed. Great to have you here. I'm unwashed too today. I want you to be proud of your career. I want you to consider signing up and considering being there for 6 years. I want you to come here and know, although I hold the torch up for infantry, I'm proud of everyone that wears a uniform and does their job. Okay, but don't use the title of what you're going for if it is lesser than the spear point to give yourself an excuse to not train hard, to not be prepared. Because everyone gets tested during their military career. And if it happens at a time, okay, where you are the weakest link because you took for granted the expectation of service and the, what would you say, the surprise that you're going to have in your career where you are the person that makes the decision, on the ground. Because let's face it, infantry is not always at the pivotal area. It's not always going to be aviation. It's not always going to be engineers. It's not always going to be cavalry. Okay, it could be transport that are on the ground that get in contact, troops in contact, where someone has to make a decision. They have to make it now. Always remember that infantry, cavalry, special forces, we would much rather take out the logistic people than lock horns with the bull on the other side. So we're going to look for what your weakness is. We do planning. There's terms like military appreciation process. And then there's IMAP, the individual military appreciation process, where we will look at the opposite commander and we will gauge where we believe he is compared to us as a tactics guy, a battlefield maneuverer, what his capabilities are, and then we'll overlap our strengths over his weaknesses. And we will hide our weaknesses from his strengths. And then what from there is we will ask, what is his center of gravity? And that is where he derives his ability to fight, his confidence, his courage from. And we'll undermine that before we attack. And a lot of that is done at strategic level, not the tactical level. Okay, two completely different things. And that's above your pay grade. But all of our cores are factored in. And we need every single one of them to be getting great people. And that's why you want people to choose their corps, not just get put at army needs. Because if someone chooses a corps, then more likely, okay, they're gonna revel there because they chose it, they wanted it. Now, when you look at something like, we'll get this rid of that for a second. No.
1-0, this is 1-1.
God's
Fire
sake.
mission over.
Bloody ladies, you must be thinking, Cas, you're not very good with your bloody fingers, I tell you, mate. This one. Have a look at this and see how is this any different to working on, okay, there's explosive ordnance, from working on a ship on the Sydney to Hobart. This is very technical, where every single person on the yacht, so to speak, has a job. Okay, whether it be the guy that puts the charge bag in, whether it be the guy that puts the round in, whether it be the guy, the officer who actually checks the bearings, all that sort of shit. Okay, the guy with the wheel. It takes a lot of physical or physicality. Okay, it takes absolute thick skin to remember you are going to get yelled at for the entire time. There might be 99% of the time you feel like you're doing nothing. Then 1% of the time it is like, you're going to shit yourself in a public place. The army is like that. At a moment's notice, you are the clutch guy. These are mechanical drills that need to be done to precision, that can be perfected, and they need to be done quicker than what your oppo does. Now, I disagree with what they said, that by firing the 3 rounds at 3 different altitudes from the same gun, self-propelled gun, to hit the ground at exactly the same time to give a fire for effect impression, that makes someone think, oh, there's more guns out there being allocated to this mission. That's not true. Because when you are on the ground, you will hear, okay, the base plate, you will hear the artillery pieces when they actually fire. Now, no matter how far they fire from, you actually hear the, and you'll hear that. Okay, and then what will happen is you'll do a shot rep, do a bearing back to where it is, approximate distance, and then from there there'll be triangulation, etc. And there's also machines out there now that can locate how far something is away by sound.
And it's a really challenging mission, particularly for the detachment bombardiers, because it tests their
Scotty,
ability to multitask
medics.
and command their detachment.
You know, medics is something that they need to ramp up.
Very challenging, and
They need
it was
to
a
bring
really good
on
exercise, and we got to do stuff that
and
you
take, I believe, combat medics
and everyone.
a lot more seriously.
Excellent job.
They need to be a platoon within an infantry battalion, I believe. What a spin out. Sounds awesome. Artillery is one of the fantastic things about that is we're not part of the dangerous space, so to speak, the red, the risk estimate distance. The rounds are allowed to fire over our heads. So when you're doing an advance to contact as an infantry company, battalion, etc., it sounds amazing to hear the rounds actually going over your head, while there's also fast air and synchronized effects that are landing on key positions before you actually close with that element and then carry out the final stroke, so to speak. And if everyone does their job properly, we should be basically just counting how many are on the ground, like Humpty Dumpty. Can't wait to be a member of the medics. Mate, we need the best people to be in medics, and their fitness needs to be off tap, because they need to be able to have their mind going 100 miles an hour when the smell of blood is in the air, when people are screaming, okay, when everyone's saying, help him, they need to be able to say, my job is not to put the bandage on, he's going to do that, I'm going to oversee this, because I'm also looking after the triage that's going to help get 3 or 4 of these guys off the ground and give them the best chance of getting home to their mums within the golden hour. Okay? Australia 100 know all about that. Willie Brennan, do medics in the ADF get their medical first, training first, or in ADFA? Not in ADFA. There's a couple of trains of thought. A lot of time when we take medics with us overseas, normally what happens is we'll recruit them from Army Reserve units. So the med caps actually get people that are fully qualified, doctors, surgeons, all of these things. They'll actually get a temporary contract and normally come over as an SSO officer, etc. And then when that trip is over, then they go back to doing their civilian jobs or Army Reserve commitments. Otherwise, our medical corps goes into the military, and then they do their training as a medic. Now, they have medical locations, like little hospitals, so to speak, regimental aid posts, where they'll go to, but as soon as something's upgraded and it's on the barracks environment, then normally paramedics will come in and take them away. So it can be an extremely boring job, and they're not actually out there like you may think, okay, moving with platoons, etc. We've had some great guys, Quirky, awesome, Hopi, awesome. You know, we've had some really great medics that get out on the ground, patrol with the platoons, etc. And if you ask to do that, you may get that job, or the option to potentially go over and be part of the SOCOM group, Special Operations Command.
Specifically today, 106 battery.
Imagine back in the World Wars when they would be doing artillery barrages on a massive scale. Hell yeah, mate. Just seeing those flashes off the distance. Wow. Check this out, dude. Nick, look at that. That there, that is a piece of shrapnel from the Western Trenches at Beersheba. Okay, picked it up ourselves off the ground. And that's, look how big that is. Imagine that flying, okay, at 1,000 metres a second. And that, bam. You get more than a bloody haircut, mate. Artifacts. What else we got? It's almost time for me to ring me little girl. Most situations, you'd hear someone screaming out for their mothers. Most situations, you'd hear some, yep. When people are in pain, they turn into a different version of themselves, guys. They do. Cas, worst officers that exist in the army. Cas, worst officers that exist in the army, or that you have seen in your experience. The worst officer is someone who is ambitious and makes it to a rank higher than what they should. If someone is a bad officer down at the lower end, that can be picked up by a platoon sergeant. That can be offset by a warrant officer. or other majors pulling them into line. But once someone gets to lieutenant colonel, colonel, and higher, especially higher, then they can actually stifle, officers below them from making decisions that are necessary, required, the right thing to do, leadership, and therefore allow policy to come in that weakens the capability of our military and makes us less prepared in the future while looking like we're prepared on paper. That's called cooking the books, and that should be a criminal offence. Yeah, it's funny. It's we never actually see. We see plenty of soldiers get held accountable for shit, but we don't see officers get done when they make a bad decision that is costly to Australian volunteers. Jason Bridges, but we are ready to fight if someone wants to enact that on us. Absolutely. We want to do a video about who would, put their hand up and say, yes, I'd join under this circumstance for Australia's borders. I believe it'd be most people. I believe it would be most people. Can an NCO become an officer? Yeah, of course they can. But normally it happens once they get to sergeant. You can before that, but it just determines whether you start and do all of RMC then as an enlisted soldier, and then you go there to become an officer, get your commission, or whether you go in as a senior NCO, do the crossover after you've been vetted and recommended. You must be recommended. And then you go over to the officers as a first-year captain. Army captains don't understand them. They don't have a horse. They don't have a boat. The two things you'd expect them to have. They have neither. And it's the worst rank in the army is a captain. A captain is especially in infantry, a captain is the guy that does basically just paperwork in a rifle company. He doesn't actually command anyone, but he's a captain. Doesn't make sense. There's not a single sport where that happens either. Stickman, I read some accounts about blokes asking for their mothers when hurt. Look, what happens is when there's nothing else, when you've lost hope, that you go back to a primeval version of yourself, except for, I won't go into that one. One of the captains that was a pilot in the Blackhawk disaster, apparently the last thing he said was, sorry, I'm not going to go into it. Scotty just said, sorry, you had to go, team. Make sure you leave some comments later. Okay, what are they, Dave? They're definitely not an infantry. Artillery, captain's jobs are excellent. Okay, that means they're actually out on the ground. Carl. Shotgun. What a fantastic name that is. Working on my citizenship as well. Where you from, mate? Need to get my las done before they... laser operation done before they cut my eyes properly stuffed up. That laser surgery apparently is awesome. Guys, we've just had the anniversary of the Blackhawk disaster. I remember being in, I was in Townsville. I just got back from field, and there was a live fire activity happening at Firebase Barbara that was at high range. And I remember the girl that was saying yes to me at the time woke me up and said, do you want to go again? And I said, no, it's okay. What do you want? And she basically said, do you know anyone in SASR? I said, yeah, I do actually. And she said, look, Dean, there's been a really horrible accident. And that was when I started to hear the Blackhawks all over the place. I was going, what's going on? And I couldn't believe it when the clippings were coming out on the news, breaking news right now. There has been a catastrophic Black Hawk collision at Firebase Barbara in Townsville High Range. And they lost 15 soldiers, 15 SAS troopers and ranking members, and another 3 pilots and loadmasters. It was absolutely horrific. And to those guys, I would say they shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. And at the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them, lest we forget. Frosty, okay, Gordo Callow from my platoon, fantastic guy, an absolute mentor. and Churchy, who had only just got back, okay, from Rwanda, seeing the horrible things there with us over in 1995. It happened in 1996, the collisions. And that guy is one of the most famous photos ever of an Australian holding a child, that was broken from the Cabello incident, only to come home and then lose his life in their helicopters, in the helos. So to all of those guys and their families, some of Australia's best lost in their prime. This is one time a year where their names are mentioned again. No one gets remembered, team. But that's what our job is to do, is to remember to say names. Because when you say names, okay, then it's like they can hear you. Tristan Bailey. Lest we forget to that young lass too. Yep. Okay, team. Have we heard enough? I'm sorry that didn't come out as collectively in order, but that was just a candid conversation with the fantastic Scotty Healey, who loves his corps, the Armoured Corps, as much as I love infantry. I know guys like Mr. Kennedy that are in aviation that love that too. There's guys in intelligence. There's people in engineers, the Holdfast, the Ginger Beers. Michael Lydiard still loves it. I don't hear anyone hating on their career. They all love their career. But sometimes there's a bill to pay. Yep. Jay, hit the like button, team, and subscribe. Yeah, make sure you subscribe. I'm not sure if we've got our alerts kicking on there because I haven't seen anyone. We haven't seen anyone jump in today, so I'm not sure if that's showing up. Is there anything else you want to ask? And I'm sorry we didn't get to a lot of your questions tonight because we wanted to get some information out there. Please thank Swar for a great chat. Look, he's a great dude, Dave. He really is. I remember the big race we had. You'd like this one, Carl. I'll let you know, Carl. There was a race. I've had a few. I was a bit of a runner team. Not always. I ran on the day, but if you beat me in a run, then it normally meant there was mum's spaghetti on my shirt already, sort of thing. I'd run until I'm basically going to collapse. And some of the big runs I had was against Andy Munn, RSM in the Australian Army. Okay, also the champion shot of the Australian Army. There was the run against Paddy Andrews, where that guy, one of the most physical men I've ever met in my life, fantastic guy and great sportsman and funny bastard, can even dance a little bit too. Massive bloke, can fight like a bloody mud crab. And that was the big run. But one of the runs I had was Scotty Healey. This was the one that really mattered because it was at brigade headquarters. There he was representing cavalry and tankies, saying that they can't be beaten. Here I am as infantry that now have to put my money where my mouth is and go and do it on the track. And I remember feeling sick before we done the 2.4 kilometre race. And it was a hot day, my friend. It was a hot day. There was hectopascals, falling out of the sky. And we took off. And I went a little bit quicker than I needed to because I wanted to shake him off. And I thought that guy's got a little bit more blubber than me. So this should be fairly easy. I'm not used to not coming first. I couldn't shake him. I remember at the halfway mark, he was still on my tail. I was going, has this guy got a background? He never boasts about running. Who is he? And, mate, I might have beaten him. Well, I did beat him, but it only was about by 10 metres. He didn't chuck. I did. So there was no real winners that day. We both lost. But infantry beat Cav at the end of the day. There we go. Diesel Duck Cas, what do you think of the next major area deployment for Australians? I've got a fear, Diesel. There's two sorts of things they're going to hear. The next contested place where Australians go will be a police action in somewhere where we're going to test our equipment. Whether that be Mali in Africa, whether that be somewhere in one of our Asian provinces, probably not because of the COVID situations, or there's a chance it could be something on Australian soil. again as a police action, a paramilitary upgrade with new powers within Australian borders. You know, I think it's going to be very hard in today's climate to get people out of the Western world into foreign countries when there's enough problems happening inside the borders of their own. Yeah. I think it's time to start trying to save this generation by considering conscription, you know, in a limited degree to people that meet a certain level. But how do you do that to people that are riddled with drugs, that are morbidly obese, that are people that could not qualify in any way to wear the uniform? I don't know. It's a tough one. It is a tough one. But we can save some of the fallen before they fall further by giving them some real brothers, by giving them some lessons, some mentorship, by giving them an institution that picks them up, puts a uniform on their back and a reason to be proud. You know, and I think that's fantastic. And I think there'd be a lot of people that put their hand up and say, hey, look, you know, I'm a diamond that's not polished, you know. Maybe I've got a bit of coal underneath, but give me a go. And there's plenty of those people that fall short that would make excellent soldiers, but don't just meet the grade of of what we need academically, which is unfortunate. I wish there was conscription. Joey, I wish I was conscripted again, mate. Guys and gals, I'm part of the young'uns, and I agree conscription will benefit us in so many ways. You probably all know someone that's fantastic at sports, you know, that also drinks too much, smokes too much, does too much womanising, and you think to yourself, dude, someone needs to pull this guy's head up before he runs into the mountain. You know, sometimes our ambition and the skills we're born with, the looks of our father were great for being swiped right, and then we end up in a situation that we can't get out of. It's sad. Dan was able to make it back before the end. Appreciate the stream, mate. Top stuff. Look, we can keep getting people in like this. It was great to give Lauren a bit of a rest as well. You know, she's always with us, and it's much appreciated. So I hope you enjoyed tonight. We can do that around 2, where there'll be more of a setup of questions for the good fella, Scotty Healey. And if he's watching now, mate, thank you very much for what you've done. Really appreciate it. Thank you for your service, buddy. Thank you for everyone tonight that donated, that keeps the channel going. And thank you for donating your time. Because at the end of the day, if we were to put, at the moment it's saying, the most we had, it was more than that. It was more than 102. If you put them into one room, it's significant the reach that this channel does for people. And I know that because I get all the information back to me through the bat phone, okay, which you can find the link below if you need one-on-one conversations, etc. Guys and gals, keep doing what you do. Have faith in your nation. We are the best small country in the world, no matter what anyone says. We are. And we have the best small army in the world. One day we're going to be tested again. Who by? Probably no one we expect. Okay, but guys, take it easy. It is a pleasure serving those in this land of the free, which is girt by sea. And for those that lost their lives, okay, in the disaster in 1996, and also to this young lady, thank you very much for bringing it to my attention, Dave. Let's close out by saying to Yindy Clark, mate, I'll even show you the photo too. A lovely Indigenous girl, you know. Yindy Clark lost her life at the end of May. I'm sorry that happened, mate. I really am. You know, and if she'd been part of this channel, maybe she could have said, hey, Cas, what do you think about this? This didn't work out. I'm injured, whatever. You know, there is people that care about you before they've met you, guys and gals. Don't be afraid to speak when you're hurting. Take it easy. Get excited. Tubes are coming. And please, I'd rather you, even if you never give a donation, let your donation be the time to go and look at the video on on Tristan Bailey. And I don't care if we never get another donation, if you go and watch that instead. Okay, guys and gals, to Tristan Bailey, okay, to Yindy Clark, okay, and to all those that have given all Take it easy. Enjoy tomorrow. All right. And I still call Australia home. Keely, well done. And let's make sure we also get on Lauren's Shining Channel. Let's see that get to 500 as quick as possible. We could do that in one hit. Let's do that because she gives you somewhere to go. That's capability. Stop